A lot of shoppers treat every bag of frozen vegetables the same. They grab whatever's cheapest or whatever looks familiar and move on. That habit is exactly what several major brands are counting on. Some lean on the cheapest supply chains they can find and never share independent test results. Others slap a higher price on the bag and let the packaging do all the talking. Today we're ranking 10 frozen vegetable brands that cut corners, and 3 that actually deliver what the label promises. We'll start with the worst and finish with the best. Number 10. Great Value Frozen Vegetables. Great Value is Walmart's house brand, and everything about it is built around one clear objective: the absolute lowest price on the shelf. To hit that number, the company frequently sources from the cheapest growing regions it can find, places where agricultural regulations are often far weaker than most American shoppers assume. Independent testing has found detectable pesticide residues on multiple Great Value frozen vegetable products. Inside the processing plants, product moves at industrial speed, thousands of pounds handled every hour. Flash freezing is the priority, since it controls both cost and shelf life, which pushes thorough cleaning down the list. The brand publishes 0 third-party testing results, no clear sourcing details by region, and no stated pesticide limits. When a bag of frozen vegetables costs less than a single fresh head of broccoli, something has been cut. Almost always quality control, cleaning standards, and contaminant testing. Number 9. Market Pantry Frozen Vegetables. Target's private label follows the same bulk commodity approach as Great Value, just with more polished packaging. The vegetables move through large suppliers and country of origin, along with specific farming practices, becomes nearly impossible to track once product enters the processing facility. In these high-volume operations, the water used for blanching is often recycled across hundreds of batches before it's replaced, and each cycle can pick up residue from everything that came before it. Market Pantry doesn't disclose how often that water changes or what treatment standards apply. Then there's the popular steamer bag, even labeled BPA-free. Heating plastic directly against food still raises legitimate questions about what compounds might migrate during cooking. The bag looks cleaner on the shelf than the supply chain looks behind it. Number 8. Bird's Eye Classics line. Bird's Eye has been a familiar name in American freezers for decades, and that long history does a lot of heavy lifting for the brand. But a reputation built in one era doesn't automatically guarantee the practices of the current one. The Classics line comes from conventional farming operations using synthetic pesticides throughout the growing cycle. Most of the marketing focuses on how quickly the vegetables freeze. Far less attention goes to everything that happens before that: the washing steps, the decontamination process, how thoroughly field residue actually gets removed. Even the bright, consistent color in the bag isn't always fully natural. Color retention methods used during blanching can involve additives designed to keep vegetables looking fresh months later. Industrial fresh-looking and actually clean aren't the same thing. Number 7. Green Giant Valley Fresh Steamers. Green Giant has done an impressive job making the steamer bag feel like a smart, healthy choice. The product behind that positioning tells a different story. Valley Fresh steamers come from large contract farms using conventional growing methods, with no organic certification anywhere in sight. That perfect uniformity, every piece the same size and shape, doesn't happen by accident. Industrial sorting creates that look by removing the smaller, irregular vegetables, which often carry higher levels of natural nutrients. The steamer bag itself raises the same concerns as other brands. Multiple layers of plastic heated directly against food. Meeting basic safety standards isn't the same as being the best option for regular use. A convenient bag of vegetables and a bag optimized for your health aren't automatically the same product. Number 6. Pick Sweet Farms. Pick Sweet Farms is mainly a regional brand, especially popular across the South, and it leans heavily on that sense of heritage and familiarity. That regional identity is also part of the problem. The company sources from conventional farms across multiple states, and quality standards can shift depending on which supplier happens to be filling a given order. Consumer complaints have repeatedly mentioned insects, visible soil debris, and plant contamination inside sealed bags, and when those reports show up across different locations and different production batches, that points to a pattern, not isolated bad luck. Pick Sweet doesn't participate in any strong third-party certification program that would independently verify its claims. Southern heritage makes for a nice story on the bag. It isn't the same as documented food safety standards. Number 5. Kroger frozen vegetables. Kroger's house brand follows the classic supermarket private label formula. Source from bulk suppliers on price, package it simply, and let shelf placement do most of the selling. Contracts go to whoever can hit the cost target, and published information about pesticide testing, residue limits, or specific sourcing regions is essentially non-existent. The mixed vegetable blends deserve special attention here. Carrots, peas, corn, and green beans can each come from completely different supplier streams, and if one supplier has a problem, it doesn't get removed, it gets mixed in and diluted across the batch. When a store brand sits significantly cheaper than certified organic options on the very same shelf, that gap is usually explained by compromises that start at the farm and continue straight through processing. Number 4. Signature Select frozen vegetables. Signature Select is the house brand for Safeway and Albertsons, and it's a useful case study in how a supply chain loses accountability without anyone doing anything obviously wrong. These vegetables are typically sourced through commodity brokers, middlemen who gather product from multiple farms and sell it onward. And by the time it reaches a processing facility, the original farm is often no longer tracked. When product from different suppliers combines in the same processing run, any batch with higher residues simply gets folded into the larger volume. The problem gets diluted instead of removed. Select on the package is pure marketing. These vegetables were chosen based on who could meet the price target for that order cycle, not on superior growing or testing standards. Consumer feedback frequently mentions soft texture and flat flavor, signs that quality was already compromised before the bag ever reached the freezer. Number 3. Season's Choice frozen vegetables. Aldi has built real loyalty among shoppers trying to eat reasonably well on a tight budget, which makes this one harder to say. But Season's Choice is where that efficiency model starts to show its limits. The products come from third-party contractors competing for Aldi's business mainly on price. So the contractor filling your bag this month may be completely different from the one that filled it 3 months ago. Fewer store locations and a lean inventory system also mean these vegetables can spend more time sitting in warehouses and store freezers before they reach you. And even at sub-zero temperatures, nutrient quality slowly declines over that time. Season's Choice offers almost no organic options in most stores. So for the budget-conscious shopper who's also trying to limit pesticide exposure, there's simply no alternative on the Aldi shelf. You can save money at checkout and still end up paying for it somewhere else later. Number 2. Veal mixed vegetables. Veal has been on American grocery shelves for so long that reaching for it feels almost automatic, and that long presence builds a quiet kind of trust. Independent nutritional analysis, though, consistently places veal toward the lower end of the category, both in pesticide risk and in measurable nutrient density. The company follows only the legal minimum for testing, with no extra screening for residues or contaminants beyond what the law requires. The mixed vegetable format adds another layer to the problem. Different vegetables absorb and hold pesticides differently, so combining several in one bag can mean multiple residue profiles in a single serving. Consumer feedback regularly mentions metallic tastes and unusual chemical smells, signals worth paying attention to. Veal holds the lowest price position in many stores, and maintaining that position requires compromises at every stage, compromises that come home with the bag. Number 1. C&W frozen vegetables. This is the one most shoppers don't see coming. C&W positions itself as a premium option, and its conventional line sits at a higher price point than most other non-organic brands on the shelf. That higher price sets a clear expectation. Better sourcing, better testing, cleaner vegetables. Independent testing of C&W's conventional frozen vegetables has found pesticide residues at levels researchers flagged as concerning for regular consumption. The brand doesn't publish third-party testing results, and it doesn't share detailed information about which farms supply the conventional line or what practices those farms follow. Premium shows up on the packaging, but it's never defined by any measurable standard. At least the budget brands are honest about what they are. C&W's conventional line sells the perception of higher quality while running through the same industrial channels as everything else we've already covered. That gap between image and reality is what makes this the most expensive mistake in the frozen aisle. If this is already changing how you shop the freezer aisle, a quick like hell thing you just heard. That's the skip list. 10 brands, one pattern running underneath every single one. Sourcing that stays private and quality language nobody's actually backing up. Here's where the aisle starts to look completely different. Number 3. Cascadian Farm Organic. Every product in this line carries USDA organic certification, and that's not a small thing. It means independent, third-party auditors are checking the farms and the supply chain on a recurring basis, not the company simply telling you to trust the label. Cascadian Farm also publishes information about its farming partners and the regions those vegetables are grown in. So the traceability that quietly disappeared in almost every brand we just covered is actually preserved here. On top of that, everything is flash frozen close to harvest, which matters more than it sounds like it should. Vitamins and antioxidants start degrading the moment a vegetable is picked, so the shorter that gap, the more of the original nutrition actually makes it into your freezer. Number 2. Woodstock Farms Organic. This one carries both USDA organic certification and non-GMO project verified status, 2 separate systems, each with its own independent auditing, so there's no single point of trust holding the whole claim up. Woodstock has also built long-term partnerships with its farms, in some cases spanning decades, producing a level of accountability that a short-term supplier contract simply can't match. The testing here is the most rigorous on this entire list. Every lot is checked against more than 300 potential contaminants, and those results are publicly available so you can actually look up the specific product sitting in your freezer. Processing happens exclusively in certified organic facilities, meaning no conventional product runs through the same lines. And the bag tells you more than most labels bother to: country of origin, harvest date, freeze date, all listed, even though none of it is legally required. Number 1, 365 by Whole Foods Organic. It carries the same baseline as the other 2, USDA Organic and non-GMO project verified. But Whole Foods layers its own internal quality standards on top, testing for contaminants beyond what either certification legally requires. The sourcing goes a step further. 2. Partner farms use regenerative agriculture, meaning they're not just avoiding synthetic inputs but actively rebuilding soil health with every growing cycle, and healthier soil tends to produce more nutrient-dense food. Everything is flash frozen within 4 to 6 hours of harvest, one of the tightest windows on this entire list, exactly the kind of gap that protects nutritional value. But here's what actually puts it at number 1: pricing. 365 sits much closer to conventional prices than most certified organic lines do, so the usual trade-off between quality and cost barely applies here. If there's one brand to take away from this whole video, this is it. 10 brands running on the same quiet assumption that supply chain transparency is optional, and that shoppers won't ask questions if the packaging looks confident enough. 3 brands chose something different: real verification, real testing, real accountability, even when it costs more to maintain. Frozen vegetables are still one of the smartest, lowest waste ways to eat well. That hasn't changed. What's changed is that you now know which bag you're actually grabbing. If this helped, a like goes a long way, and subscribing means you won't miss the next quick frugal breakdown. Drop a comment with the brand that surprised you most. I read every one.